Winona Ryder is a two-time Oscar nominee, and she's been in a lot of really great films. Heathers is probably one of the funniest dark comedies of all time. She's in some Tim Burton films like Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands. Martin Scorsese's The Age of Innocence. Within the last 10 or 15 years, she was in Black Swan. So she's been in a lot of great things. But one thing you might not know about Winona Ryder is that her father is Jewish. And Ryder is not actually her real last name. So today on Genealogy is Fun, we're going to be taking a dive into the land of Winona. Winona Laura Horowitz was born in 1971 in Olmsted County, Minnesota, the daughter of Michael Horowitz and Cynthia Istis. Now, apparently there's a bit of a debate over where she was actually born. A lot of sources, including, I believe, Winona Ryder herself, say that she was born in the town of Winona, Minnesota, which is definitely the town that she was named after. However, the 1971 birth index that I managed to find does say that she's from Olmsted County and not Winona County. So it's possible that the index is wrong and maybe her actual birth record says Winona, but for now, I'm going to go with what the records say, that she was born in Olmsted County. But who knows? Her father, Michael, is a professional archivist, so he probably knows more about the family than I do, which is not saying much. But I did make a good faith attempt to try to dig into his Horowitz line. So I'm going to share my findings with you guys. Michael's parents were Sol Horowitz and Ethel Frankel. Sol, who worked as a salesperson in a clothing store, was born in 1901 in the city of Minsk, Belarus. That's a pretty big city, one of the largest cities in Europe. And believe it or not, his original surname was not Horowitz. It was Tamchen. Now, as you can see on the 1906 ship manifest, Sol listed with the Yiddish name Zalman, which is a Yiddish variation of the Hebrew name Shlomo or Solomon, sailed over with his mother and two siblings. Although most of the family would take on the name Horowitz, his younger brother Aaron, who later went by Harry, ended up going under the surname Tamchen. Now, the city of Minsk seems to be very consistent across all of the records I could find, and that being said, I couldn't find a lot about Sol's father, Louis Horowitz, but I found a few documents of note that I'm going to explore here. Louis, whose Yiddish name was most likely Laser Horowitz or Tamchen, was born around 1873 in Minsk, Belarus. Now, unfortunately, I've not been able to locate his death certificate or gravestone, which seems really odd, because his wife, Yetta Friedland, who died in 1946, is buried in a family burial plot along with other members of their family. And according to the death certificate, she was already widowed by the time she died. So it seems really odd to me that her husband is not in the same burial plot as she is. And there's probably a story there, like a personal family story, but that one is a big mystery. On Lewis's petition of naturalization, it mentions that he arrived to the U.S. on 28 June 1904, sailing aboard the Noordam ship. And I looked at that manifest and I found what may or may not be him, along with two brothers. However, due to several factors, such as how common the surname Horowitz is, very common, the fact that his wife came under the surname Tamchen, yet this person is under the last name Horowitz, and that every other record seems to indicate that Lewis was born around 1873 instead of 1868, I would say that the ship manifest is actually a bit of a shaky find. It's not conclusive. I've tried finding some of the other people mentioned on the manifest, including a potential brother who they're going to visit, and I haven't been able to draw any conclusive results from anything that I found. That being said, these people clearly are from Minsk, and I do believe this document could yield some dividends in the future when conducting further research. There are a lot of public trees available for Winona Ryder's family, and I just want to take this moment to highlight one of the most common traps when researching families and doing genealogy, and that's public member trees. Just because someone has a public tree on, say, Ancestry, Genie, MyHeritage, WikiTree, or one of these other sites, does not mean you should trust that information. Public trees can be a great tool for finding leads in sources of information, but you should not treat them as sources in and of themselves. A lot of time they contain no information and have essentially nothing backing them up, except for the fact that somebody made a tree that looks really impressive. That doesn't mean that there's actually anything of substance on there. So I'm not saying that the trees that I found for Winona Ryder's family are incorrect, but unfortunately most of them had little to no sources on them. So I decided not to trust the information, and I think that it's just an important thing, especially if you are a genealogist, to keep in mind. So that's it for today, folks. Now you know a little bit more about Winona Ryder's Jewish ancestry, and you can impress all your friends at parties by letting them know that her real last name isn't Ryder, it's Horowitz. If you liked this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.